The following program is rated S for satire. We are not professionals, nor are we clinically depressed. We do, however, suffer from long bouts of indecision and stagnation. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to the 6th episode of Take That Depression. I'm Kyler. That's Spencer.
Hello!
Spencer, it's a new week. How was your week?
I'm gonna be honest with you, I did not sleep this week, and I've been
no.
a little on the spicy side, so I'm kind of glad we hit our last day of our rotation, so we have time to kick back, relax. I'm gonna be doing some sleeping tonight.
Yeah, good.
So I'm very excited about that. How was yours?
I have been sick all week. I'm sure you guys can hear it. I'm going to try and do my best. My voice has been extra cracky, so if you hear any of that, be kind.
It's got that deep, mysterious voice.
Other than that, it was a pretty good week at work. I'm excited for the off rotation. Excited to be recording another episode.
I'm always excited.
So yeah. That being said, we'll move on to movie recommendations.
Spooky season!
Spooky season movie recommendations. Week 3. For me this week, I have another 4-in-1 called The Coffee Table. In English, it's got its own name in Spanish. The whole movie is in Spanish. There's a big trigger warning that comes with this one, being harm to infants. If you're a parent, I would probably skip it. It's not horror per se in the traditional sense, but it is so good at what it's trying to do. I was telling Spencer this week that I don't think I could bring myself to watch it again.
Yeah.
It was a very good one-time watch. I do not think I could do it again. The premise, very surface level premise, is a couple is having marital problems right after giving birth to their first child, and so they go out to buy a coffee table to see if that will remedy it. Why that would remedy it? Don't ask me. However, the movie is great. The situations that it shows you, that it portrays, is just so you're on the edge of your seat the whole time. And it's very much that your heart starts pounding from minute 1 to the end of the movie, and it's just, again, hard watch, very hard watch. Keep in mind the trigger warning. Skip it if you want to, but it is one that I would recommend the one-time watch.
It sounds like quite the ride for a movie with the name Coffee Table, because you're like, oh, watch the Coffee Table, and I'm like, what is that? And it ends up sounding like it ends up being not what I think it is.
No, it's why, and that, I saw it recommended on a YouTube video as like 5 scary movies that I couldn't watch again. Okay. And I'm like, yeah, right, dude, like, it's a movie. You
grow up.
Yeah, you can tell that it's just a movie. It is just a movie, but man, the situations that you just are a fly on the wall for is so hard. It's so good. Again, if you want a movie to make you feel things, this is a movie that'll make you feel things.
Sounds like it's going to make me feel things I don't want to feel.
Yes. Highly recommend, though, and yeah, for sure, give it a check out if you're interested at all. Keep in mind the trigger warning. How
Excellent.
about you?
Going back to my love of found footage, our love of found footage. Yes. This week I have one of my favorite series, and it's Hell House, LLC, and it's so good. There's, I believe, 4 movies and a new 5th one, or maybe it's 3 and a new 4th. I have not seen all of them. I've only seen the first 3, ?
Okay.
However, the first one is very good. Some people say the second and third are not as good, but for me, the first one was so good, it builds that universe, so I'm willing to just grab at everything.
Yeah.
It's about a production team, and they're trying to put on a haunted house and make, like, a shit ton of money. And they go to this old abandoned hotel, and it follows basically step by step into madness. It's like, week 1, week 2, and shows kind of how things go wrong. In the beginning, it shows you the end, almost.
Yeah.
In a way that it's like, this bad thing happened, let's take you back to the beginning. And it kind of goes back and forth, very interview style,
Yep.
and I just love it. There's nothing like it. That is one that I strongly recommend. It's probably currently one of my favorite found footage movies, and I can't recommend it enough.
Yeah, I want to echo everything Spencer said. He had very good points there. It is the first movie is exactly what you'd expect a horror movie to be, a found footage horror movie type documentary type thing. It is so good. And yeah, the second and third movies are not horror in the same way, but they are, like Spencer said, building on that universe. And that's
deep lore that you get to explore, and that's what I like. Is you see something like that from the movie, and you're like, I want more, and then you find out like little backstories, and you're like, oh, that's from that. Oh my god.
Yes. Yeah. Highly recommend the entire series. If you only want the one, I would recommend the first one. Obviously.
Yeah.
The first one that's kind of all you need, a self-contained story, and then if you want to delve into the lore of how we got here, the other movies will get you there, and I would also highly recommend those.
I believe you can watch all those on Hulu. Some of them were free, some of them you needed to pay, and I believe Amazon Prime was also the same deal. But if you guys get the chance, I definitely recommend that one. That one is probably my personal favorite.
Yeah. And to piggyback off that, you can watch The Coffee Table on Tubi, which is totally free if you have access to that. I apologize for not saying that earlier in my segment.
Got him.
But with that out of the way, we'll kick right into our main topic this week, which is how to research efficiently.
I'm very excited about that because that's always something I struggle with, especially with this whole project, Skill Check. I'm always looking on the computer and I got 50 links open and I'm like, how do I do this? What's the best way? So as always, I'm excited.
That was, I like to say, most of my degree in college was teaching me how to Google efficiently. So that this is something that I really enjoy to like get into the weeds on researching and figuring it out. The main reason I wanted to cover this was because everything that we do for the podcast and so many things that you just have questions about in your day-to-day life can just be researched. It's an easy way to figure out answers to questions. We will be sitting at work and like ask some random, how many ounces of steak do you think you could eat in a day? Whatever.
Hold on one second.
We have the technology in our pockets. There's no reason not to, if you have a question, except for time and place. If you're in an important business meeting, maybe don't just pull out your phone and start Googling something that you thought of while you weren't listening to your boss.
Hold that thought for 1 second.
But yeah, there's no better time than right now to consume information.
Yeah.
And so that's why research. The first step for researching efficiently is to plan out your research. This first thing that you can do is you figure out what your question is, you define it. You make as concise as you can the question that you're asking, the question that you want to ask. I'm going to carry this main topic directly into my skill check, which is crocheting. So I will do some of these. I will give you an example, and that will be the basis for my example. So to define a question in the scope of our podcast is, how do I learn to crochet? That is the question that you are seeking answers for. Next thing you want to do once you have a clear question that you want answered is you want to break your question down into smaller parts, if applicable. If it's already its base form and you can't really get any lower, then you can just go on from there. But for this one in specific, how do I learn to crochet? Assuming you don't already have the tools you need, you can break it down into what do I need to start crocheting and what skills do I need to start crocheting. Then you get to create a plan of how you're going to tackle the research, which is figuring out how or where you can. So if you go to a library and they have books about crocheting, you can go to the library, check out a book, or you can go online. You can Google it, you can YouTube it. You can find somebody in your area that you know crochets and ask if they'd be willing to teach you. Those are all ways that you can conduct research. And this is the create a plan is when you would figure that out, exactly how you want to go about that. For us, it's generally just Googling it
Yep.
and figuring it out. But there are different ways, different people. If you're more outgoing, we're both very introverted. If you're more outgoing, then seeking out people that already do the skill and learning from them might be more beneficial and more interesting to you. And that also fits within research. Research doesn't have to be just Googling it. And also in that plan, if you need to, if you're on a time crunch for anything, while you're creating the plan is also when you want to set deadlines for any learning that you need to do. And if you like break it up, I need to know what supplies I need to crochet by this date and have them ordered by this date.
Mm-hmm.
So they will be here by this date. So then when I have my meeting scheduled with this person, then I can have that. That would also fall in this creative. The next big step is to actually go out and find and evaluate the sources. So this would be the step when you actually go to the library. It's not just, I could probably get a book from the library. We'll try that out. This is when you would actually go out and find it. If you can, for the best possible research, use different mediums. Use YouTube, use Google, use your library, use a person resource if you can. That way you can better make sure you're getting the same, like if you start getting conflicting information, which you should definitely seek out, especially not in like crocheting, but if you're looking at deeper philosophical questions, if you have a question about that, seek out opinions that differ from you, so then you can either be ready for questions if you get posed questions for challenges, or just to know what the other side says.
Mm-hmm.
I like to figure out how different people tick. I like to figure out how people work. If they have completely differing views from me, that is so much more interesting to me than someone that agrees with me on everything.
Yeah.
Because then I can really figure out why they think the way they do, if they're willing to have the conversation, why they think the way they do. And there has been many times that I've come into a situation with someone who believes something different than me, and I heard what they had to say, and they had a good argument or a good discussion topic or whatever, that it either softened my view on what I held, or it has changed it entirely. And that's something that I think we need to be open to, especially when researching, is if you go into a project with an answer in mind, be willing to change that answer.
Not just, I hear what you're saying, but I'm going to disregard all of that.
Yes. Yeah, definitely be willing to change that answer, because that's so big in research. And again, to find those opposing, so you're not just finding that like same view bias.
Mm-hmm.
I think that everybody should drink whole milk, so I'm going to look up why people drink 2% and then only read the articles that are like, people drink 2% because they're silly. Then you can look at whatever.
Yeah. I fall into the habit sometimes that I'm trying to break too of finding multiple sources from all over. I'm very, one-sided, like, here's what I need, I'm going to do that, and if sometimes it's hard to find other information, so I'm like, well, that one's good enough, that's what got what I need, and I need to be better about not just like, bah.
Yeah. And again, for some of our, like, the topics here, there's no, like, this may be a hot take, so forgive me. I'm not a part of the community.
Uh-oh.
But there's no, like, hot takes as far as learning how to crochet or learning how to type better. It's not like if you use the home row, you're a fool. You should be using this other thing. So for us, we have the luxury of not needing that. But if you're researching a bigger topic than for a silly little podcast, then definitely find those differing opinions.
Yeah.
But yes, so seek out as many different mediums as possible. That way you can cross-reference all the information and make sure that it jives. If you can find many different resources that are feeding you the same information, you can be pretty sure that that's good information. And another thing is to ensure that your resources are reliable.
Wikipedia.
Yes. No random person off the street can just edit this resource. My wife and I just recently were looking up information on a specific topic that was near and dear to us. And we found a research paper that was written about the topic. However, the topic was riddled with grammatical errors and different things that would just, like, if you were trying to present this in a professional manner, it would just make some questions pop in your head. So if you find things like that supporting us or opposing us, that is probably not the most reliable of sources. If it's just full of, and if it's a non-native English speaker, there's obviously some leeway there. However, generally, you'll find that that would just not be quite as reliable as a well-written piece.
Yep.
Also, if you're reading from a resource with a specific author, you can look them up and see if they are credible, if they're in that field. If it was like me writing about rocket science with none of that in my background, you can be pretty sure that that book or resource is full of garbage. So you definitely want to make sure that you're getting reliable resources as you're getting your. Another part of this is using effective searching techniques. You'll want to use concise searches with as few extra words as possible, because that can sometimes throw off the search that you're going for. And sometimes you'll need to add or remove words if they're throwing you searches for something that you don't want, or that you're looking for something in specific. If it's how to crochet, and you're looking to how to crochet a specific pattern, don't just Google how to crochet because it's the most concise and expect to find that pattern.
Yeah.
You'll want to how to crochet X pattern. And remove also words too if it's just an unnecessary word that you threw in and then it's giving you this pattern and you're like, oh no, I'm not looking for that. You take out that word that they're shoving in your face, and then that will get you hopefully closer to where you need to be.
It's crazy how much just a single word can throw off your search history.
Yeah.
Not search history, but search bar.
Yes.
And just like you said, you do one thing, take it out, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's what I need. And then you're like, well, what about this? And then it's like, that is literally nothing that I need.
Yeah, and that, like, the researching for organization for you, when it was giving you, like, how to start an organization.
Yeah, that's a really good example too.
Some of them are hard in the English language because we don't have a different, like, how to make stuff neat.
That's the word, but that's not quite the thing you're looking for, not yet.
So yeah, you're going to have to be mindful about those words too, especially in the English language, where we're a little bit weird with our words like that.
Yeah.
Then next, you'll want to organize your findings. You'll get all your resources, and then you will either take notes on them if you're a note-taking learner, or you can take pictures if you're more of a visual learner, or make it into a chart. You can, for like YouTube videos, you can save them in your watch later or favorite them or whatever if you're like an audio learner. This leads to a little bit of a speed bump if you are a hands-on learner, because there's really no one-to-one ratio for hands-on learning to organize what you're finding. And that's why it is so important to know, and you can then rely on your secondary learning styles from episode 2.
Call back.
From episode 2 to focus down on that. I'm a hands-on learner first, like we covered in that episode, but then I'm an audio-visual learner. So I will do a whole bunch of videos and a whole bunch of podcasts, and that's how then I can organize that info. I can get all those and put them in an order that fits me. You'll also want to, at that moment, document all your sources so that you can return to them later if you need more information about the certain topic that it is, or you just want to read more about it. You want to put those all in someplace where you have them, either in your notes in your phone, put them in a notebook, save them as bookmarks on your internet browser, write it down, the title of the book, if you're pulling it out from a library, something like that. But you'll want to document all of your sources so you have them. for later use. Then the last step, and arguably the most important step, I'm pretty bad about this one, is managing your time and staying focused.
Yep.
You'll want to go down the rabbit hole of one question first, unless it leads you into another one. But in general, you want to go down the rabbit hole of one question first. Answer that question instead of half answering 3 questions. You'll just want to answer the one, move on to the next, and you can prioritize them. It is more important that, at least in my head, it's more important that I know what I need to start crocheting or getting what I need to start crocheting before I know how to start crocheting. So I would clear down the rabbit hole of what tools do I need to start crocheting. Get that list, get my sources all documented up, and then when I'm ready to learn how to crochet, I can go back and either get those items or I'll already have them. You'll want to focus that down, and managing time, you don't want to spend an hour reading one resource that isn't really what you need. If you find something that kind of fits, see if you can dip in just surface level on another thing and see if that fits what you need better. You'll want to make sure that you're doing all of that kind of as efficiently as possible. And that's kind of in a nutshell all the things you need to research more efficiently. You create that plan first, you define your question, you create a plan of how you're going to attack the questions, and then you go about finding all the answers that you want to. You organize all that data in whatever way that you can, and then you want to make sure that the whole time you're staying focused on what you're doing. I will often see a link for something that is not related to what I'm looking up. And be like, that's also an interesting question. Let me look that up.
Yeah.
And then I do that.
I need the answers. So.
And then I spend 30 minutes looking up how to cook the best pot roast when I'm trying to figure out what is the best gaming pad I can use for this game.
Yep.
It's like, thanks for that, brain. But that's all there is to researching efficiently. That being said, I'm going to move straight into my skill check of crocheting. We're going to change it up here. I'm going to change it up here. I don't know if you did or not. And give you a list of items that you would need to start this and the prices before you want to look into something. The example that my wife said before coming over to record was I don't want to record a skill check on glass blowing and then be like, oh, that sounds like really, really fun. And then you look into it and it's like, oh, it's $100 a week in a glass blowing studio.
$8,000 later. Oh.
I'm in a bad way with some bad people. So we wanted to give you kind of a price range, especially in these times, in this economy. I want to give you kind of a price range. So if you're interested at all in it, you have a kind of metric before you start diving into it to see if it's something that you could or want to do. Because hobbies should not ever stop you from getting your needs.
I think that's a really great idea that you're doing that. And I'm glad to call it a great idea because I also did that. So we both had a great idea.
Nice. So yeah, first of all, I will have 2 resources linked in the description below for how to start crocheting. I have one, it's called Ravelry. It's a free website. You do have to create an account, but it's a free website for beginners, and you can look up all kinds of like beginner patterns and things like that. It's a really, really easy way to get started. And then I also have linked below a YouTube video it's called a granny square. Many places that I was looking up said that the granny square was a good place to start when crocheting because it teaches you a bunch of different stitches and there's a good repetition of all those stitches. I know nothing of crocheting, so if I'm absolutely wrong here, and we do have a crocheter in the audience, please correct me if I'm wrong. But I have those 2 resources linked below. And then I also found, looking online, to start crocheting, what they recommend you have is like a beginner. What you need to start is yarn, a hook, scissors, and then a tapestry needle. I found online there's a package on Amazon that comes with, I believe it was 32 things of yarn, the hooks you'll need, tapestry needles you'll need, and a stitch marker, which I'll cover in a little bit, for about $23.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good if you're looking to get into crochet. It's a good time for it.
Yeah.
But that'll get you all of that for $23 on Amazon. And also it's about probably less than if you just get Walmart scissors, but on Amazon what I could find was about $5 for a pair of scissors. Again, I'm sure you could get some at Walmart $1, just to get you through. And then measuring tape, which again, it's I looked up specifically cloth measuring tapes. I'm assuming that would be better for measuring specifically what you're doing with yarn and stuff like that, instead of having the thick metal
just
break.
right.
Like, all right, dude, whatever. Those tape measures, but that's also about $5. Again, you could probably get it cheaper. You could probably get a cheap one, $1 at Amazon. But with that specific, you got it all on Amazon. You'd be into it to start crocheting for $33, not including tax. And that's a pretty decent price to try something out, to see if you'd be into it. $30 that's right on par with what I'd want to spend with a maybe hobby.
I'd spend that money. That's a good deal.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my skill check, how to crochet. I'll have the 2 resources linked below for you, the Ravelry and then the YouTube video to the granny square. But yeah, that's it for my skill check, Spencer.
For my skill check, you may or may not remember from last week, I did not have a skill check. And that I was going to do some research this week so I could better present it. I partially did that. So what really happened was I got excited and I spent a bunch of money on Amazon.
Yeah.
With almost no research.
Yay.
So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that.
Yes.
And how that went. So, first of all, I said Perler Beads, and that's not exactly right. Some of the different names for it are Fuse Beads, my personal favorite, Melty Beads. I don't know if that's real, but I assure you I'm going to start calling it that now.
It sounds like something you could eat.
Yeah.
And that intrigues my brain.
You should not eat these. You should not eat these at all. Hama Beads is a name, and that's actually the brand. One of the main brands is Perler, and I feel like from what I've looked up, that's like the brand of choice. That's the guy.
So that's like Kleenex for nasal tissue?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Got it.
Hama Beads is another, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. But that's another brand, big name guys to go through, as well as Beatos.
Okay.
Which is almost as cool as Melty Beads, but just not quite. They are also a brand.
Okay.
So I will be saying probably Perler Beads because that is the brand that I decided to go through. I'm a name guy, so we're gonna go with him. One thing I found out when starting this is that there were actually 2 sizes when I was researching this. And again, I was just looking for the bare minimum. I'm trying to buy all the ingredients I can. So I actually found out that there's the standard size is 5mm, which is just your little plastic beads. And then there's a mini size that people have used to do, like, it makes it more realistic. It makes it like pop, but they are discontinued. It's not to say that you can't find them, but they're going to be a lot harder. So the standard for this craft is 5mm beads. For cost, I goofed. So as I said, I just kind of jumped into the whole thing. So we're going to break that down a little bit and then tell you why you shouldn't do that.
Yes.
So my Amazon purchase ended up, don't tell Natalie, my Amazon purchases ended up coming out to $117 for a hobby that I'm looking to start. And after a little more research, coincidentally enough, I found out that was not needed, and we can do better. The first thing I bought was a big tub of beads. It's like random assorted beads, 22,000 of them, of like
Jeez.
30 plus colors. That is actually, believe it or not, the best bang for your buck when it comes to like price per bead. The drawback is it is a tub of 22,000 beads that I am now going to have to sit and pick, like, there's a black one, there's a white one, and all that. So there's other ways to do it. That is actually the cheapest one out of all the things that I bought.
I've told you before, and I'll tell you again right now, the price for my labor is beer and pizza. If you need help sorting
Yes.
22,000 beads.
We can listen to our podcast while we do it. We can watch some horror movies.
Yes.
It'll be a good time. But going off that leads me into my second purchase, which was a 4-stack storage container to sort out those beads and not just have them. That came out to $16. Let me tell you again, because I didn't tell you the first time. That mixed bag of beads, or that jar of beads, was $25. You can get single bags. I believe it's 1,000 count for a single color, and 6,000, I believe. And that would be $6 for 1,000 and $13 for 6. And again, I got 30 different colors. I don't know how many of each. It's kind of a just throw them in there. But that jar was $25.
Okay.
So for $25, I can. And if you want to look at it as a little extra fun, I get the extra fun of sorting. So you can't put a price on that. The next thing you'll need that I bought is they're called grids, and they're little plastic, like, squares. They come in different shapes. You can get stars and things like that, but they like hold the beads in place, so you kind of set up your little pattern and do all that. That was $16 for 4 large ones of those. The next thing I bought was ironing paper for a whopping $10.
Is that just like wax paper? Or is that
It
different?
is just wax paper, probably almost exactly the same, just marketed a little different. So
Fair enough.
I probably could have got that from Walmart for a little cheaper. I did not buy an iron because I already own one. We'll find out if it is a good one or not. We'll put that in another video down the road. And I also bought some unnecessary extras to, hype that up a little bit more. I got 2 books for patterns, because if I'm going to do a thing, I want variety. I want to learn to make all the little neat Mario characters and all that kind of stuff. And then I bought a Legend of Zelda, like, shield with pattern and all that. And that was actually the first thing before anything that popped up. And I was like, add to cart. The extras came out to $30. So we could have very much done without that. All of it together came out to a grand total of $117. Now, the reason I'm telling you I goofed is because just today, as I was pricing everything out, I noticed they had a all-in-one kit for $33.
Oh, no!
And it came with all the beads separated.
Oh my gosh.
It came with some grids to get started. It came with the paper to the wax paper, and it even came with an iron.
Wow.
And I was like, $33, huh? We should.
What a coincidence! Both our hobbies cost $33
Yeah.
to get started. At least the way we priced them out.
So I thought that was interesting and fun, and a mistake I made, and I will probably not learn from it, but
Hey.
hopefully everybody else can learn from my mistakes.
That's what we're really here for. You guys can learn from our mistakes.
I kind of went over it in explaining, but as he said, one of the best ways to start is tools. So I'll be going over that again. Obviously, to start, you need the fuse beads. That's going to be what you're making the thing out of. The next thing is you'll need an iron, because eventually you're going to melt those together and bring your picture to life. You'll need ironing paper, so you're not just putting a hot iron on wax and calling it a day. You'll also need those grids, because again, that's what keeps them all in place and kind of get your little picture on there. One thing that was stressed to me, and I'm going to stress to all of you, is a heat-proof surface. I did not think of that when I was doing this, and after watching some other videos, I was like, wait a minute, and they got like cardboard or like a nice outside or something, so I don't recommend just doing it on your couch or like anything that might catch fire. Another thing they recommend, it's optional, but it seems like a really good idea, is tweezers. They make special ones. Perler brand makes them. They look really nice, but I promise you can use a regular tweezers, anything you find. They got a bunch of other cool tools, and I don't exactly know what they're called. Some people use paper clips, and they'll like bend it and line them all up so there's 30, and it's just drop, 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 drop.
Wow.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see the different ways that people can do this, because I'm sure when you start diving into it and you make all these different pieces, hundreds of pieces, by the time you make that 100th piece, I guarantee you got your own little strategy, like, this is how I'm going to do it. It's not just boop, boop. That's going to be me, one at a time. Let's go. One thing I found out, which I thought was kind of interesting, is that some colors actually melt faster than others.
Interesting.
White and clear, I believe, melt the fastest. So that's something you'll have to keep in mind when you're doing like melting them over. To actually start the hobby is, once you have those tools, it's pretty straightforward. You get your grid, you put your beads, make your patterns in there. You take your paper, put it over the top, and you melt it on, and then you're good to go. It's that simple, but it's also not, as I'm finding out. There's other strategies that people use called the masking tape strategy, and that's where for bigger pieces you will take specifically masking tape and put it over it. It'll hold it in place, and you gotta poke holes in it, because if you don't, it just kind of overheats everything and it's not dispersed right.
Mm-hmm.
That was something I'm glad I looked up too, because again, with no research and me ready to do the project I've been excited to work on,
Mm-hmm.
I was ready just to start like, we can figure this out, we can wing this. But there's surprisingly a lot of different techniques out there. I just watched one of the basic ones, because again, it's the basic entry level is the same thing. You get your grids, you put them on there. One source that I watched was a YouTuber named Big Boss Raz, and he seems to be the guy. There's all sorts of information out there or whatever, but everything kept bringing me back to him, so I checked out his channel, and it's boom, Perler Beads. It is every how to do this, why not to do this, your mistakes that you're making, things to try. This guy knows his stuff, and I'll definitely be diving back into his. After listening to your research, I wish I would have dove deep into more, but I'm very confident in this guy after seeing his channel. He knows what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And he was one of the newest. There's videos from like 7 years ago, 10 years ago, and it's like, yes, but let's update that, bring it in a little bit. And the intro video I watched was 2 years ago, and he's since put out many more videos than that. So once I actually dive into this and start trial and error for myself, I'm definitely going to dive into his videos and learn.
Good. Yeah, it's always good to find like an expert in your thing.
Yeah.
Especially if they're making content, like a whole YouTube channel. You can definitely learn a lot if someone's like, this is the one thing I do. This is my niche. This is I'm going to present just this content. And you can learn all from them. That's very, very cool.
When I'm looking to learn to something, that's what I like. What do they say? Jack of all trade, masters of none.
Yeah.
I'm looking for the guy, when I'm trying to do a thing, if this guy's doing the thing, that's where I'm at. Along with the YouTube videos from Big Boss Raz, Some other honorable mentions I want to suggest. I bought those books. Those are huge resources. You can find different patterns in. Those are super cool. You can find those all over the place. But there's actually a lot of bead studios and bead websites you can check out. Beadstudio.com has a bunch of different patterns. They have a paid and a free version. That was one thing I thought was pretty cool to check out. There's perlypop.com was a big one on Reddit that they found that was pretty user and beginner friendly. Pixelbead.com was another cool one. Even before doing this podcast and researching this, I found that one because this is something I have been interested in and will definitely be doing. But you can upload your own pictures to that website and it'll give you a pattern. And then candypatterns.com is user posted, so you'll get people make patterns and share them on there. So that's, to me, that's a cool one because it brings the community get together.
Okay. Yeah, we will put all those also in the description below for you guys to use if you're interested in it.
That's all I got for my skill check. I will be posting on Facebook. Unfortunately, I was hoping it was going to arrive before this so I could post it. Everything's still in the mail because I got it on Amazon. But I'm hoping here when it shows up I can throw a little something together and you'll be able to check that out on the TTD Facebook page.
Yes.
If you're not following that, go ahead and give that a follow. We'll start posting some pictures and some more content to get a better look at the things we're doing and things we're creating.
Yeah, we're trying to give a better social media push here, and we got some other kind of stuff in the works that we're working on, and we're going to see if it'll pay off for us. But
trial and error.
Yeah, we're learning how to do this whole thing, so we're right there with you guys and learning new things. That all being said, if you feel like we've earned it, like us any way you can. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever, feel free to come by the Facebook page, comment on anything that you like. Feel free to send us an email at takethatdepressionpod@gmail.com with any comments, questions, concerns. Definitely let us know if what you liked, what you didn't like. But yeah, we'd love to hear from you guys. And as always, stay safe out there.
And don't get mugged.
If you are struggling, please reach out to someone or dial 988 to get connected with someone at the National Suicide Hotline. You do not have to go it alone.